Welcome back everybody to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the 2024 GMC Canyon AT4X. It just might be the best pickup truck I've driven this year. Now let's start off as usual up on the front side of the Canyon AT4X. You can see that we have like that factory 3-inch lift, and there's a bunch of ground clearance as well, which is excellent, and you can see it. We have 2 tow hooks right up here in the front, as well as some nice fog lights, which look awesome. And we have daytime running LEDs right here, as well as down here. This is the main headlight. Right to these things right here are the main headlights. GMC badge with the AT4Xing badge right there. You can also see it says Canyon right there in the headlight, as well as GMC right there in the headlight as well. Very cool. I love this front end. You can see the aggressiveness. It looks like it's ready to tackle any type of condition that you throw at it, and that's what you want from a little pickup truck. All right, so like I already mentioned, we do have the 10.7 inch of ground clearance. We also are getting Multimatic DSSV dampers, front and rear underbody cameras, and an exclusive Baja drive mode. Now let's take a look at what is powering this GMC Canyon AT4X. We've got a 2.7 liter turbo with a high output engine. That's going to make us 310 horsepower with 430 pound-feet of torque. We also have an 8-speed automatic transmission, and of course it comes in all-wheel drive. So now let's move over to the side profile for the AT4X. You could just see how the bed is kind of smaller, how the front end is a little bit bigger, but it is a small pickup truck, and it absolutely can get the job done though. I've been calling it the truck that can, and that absolutely will. It is just awesome. So let's get a little bit closer. We'll kind of highlight some of the features here. Again, you can see that massive ground clearance there that you like. It's not the biggest ground clearance that we've ever seen, but it is nice to see that on a small truck. We have a one-touch lock and unlock. It is a physical button, so that should be good in the winter. None back here though, which is strange because usually GM puts these buttons everywhere. But anyways, one click there and you're gonna unlock all the doors. We have a smaller side view mirror, but also we have a camera right underneath here so that we can have the 360-degree camera, which is nice. We got parking sensors everywhere, those massive tires, and you can see since it's lifted, you can see a little bit of the suspension under there, which is nice. I'll move over to the back where you can actually see the DSSV things right there with a nice strong man, because it's a strong boy suspension, right? And then a good shot of the cool tires. Now let's move on to the back of the Canyon. We can see it says GMC Canyon AT4X. Badging is right there. We have some of the ports here for the towing trailers, different things that you need to get that done. A little bit of a step here that you can access the rear with. Those iconic GMC tail lights. We've seen them on almost all the GMCs I've driven this year. Very nice. We have a backup camera right here, as well as the tow camera, which is cool. This is not an automatic tailgate, but it does kind of come down slowly for you, and it's really not heavy, so I like that. We've got a bit of storage underneath the bin here, and we have the AT4X in the badge. We got some tie-down points on all 4 corners, as well as a plug just right over here. So yeah, the bed isn't too big, the rear passenger side isn't too big, but we do get the best of both worlds, and it is a small truck that gets the job done. So with that being said, let's hop into the interior and check that out. All right, so as usual, we will take a look at the rear for the Canyon AT4X. You can just see how high it is off the ground, so it is quite the effort to get in. We do have kind of like a grab handle right up here, but we're immediately greeted by, check this out, red seat belts and these snowboarder-esque kind of looking things. People call them goalie pads, you know, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, they're really good design though. I really like the design. Same thing here with the white. Really splits things up, makes it look a little bit less rugged, but still very sporty, and I like that. So let's actually hop in. I'll show you the process. You really got to get your foot up there, kind of hold the seat here and like pull yourself in. It's not terrible, but I do tend to get myself dirty on here, especially in the winter, because this is all iced over and like full of mud and stuff. So it is a little bit on the awkward side, so I don't want to touch the white stuff here. And then, you know, it is a crew cab, but oh boy, I do not have all that much room. But this is my driver profile. This is how I drive. A little bit more room there on the passenger side of things, but yeah, headroom is just enough. There's kind of like a cutout. I don't know if you can see this. It's like a cutout right here for where my head would go. So, you know, it's not terrible. You know, obviously I've been cramped into worse, but yeah, this is not the most comfortable seating position, but if all you're doing is going up a mountain or something and it's not a long drive, you're probably going to be okay. We also have this guy that's going to fold down here, pretty standard stuff, pretty big too, which I like. That's nice little armrest there. Love the white. Again, we have, no heated seats back here, but that's okay. We do have the USB-C and the normal USB, as well as some vents and 2 cup holders right there as well. So this thing is not short of cup holders at all, like a typical pickup would be. But yeah, so there's not much to talk about. Seats are actually really comfortable. Like this part here, the bolstering is really good, nice and comfortable. It's just this leg room that's maybe a bit the issue, but I mean, we can't have everything. We can't have the small truck with the great upfront space, and then you want some bed space. You don't want to completely eliminate it, so you kind of have to make the sacrifice. And I feel like the sacrifice for the Canyon AT4X is definitely in the rear seat space, or at least leg room anyways. So there is the back seat. Let's hop into the business end. Let's hop up front. All right, next up is the front seat, where a little bit more detail this time, where you have like a speaker here, the white, 2 memory seat settings, which is nice. The AT4 logo is right there with the white seats, goalie pad seats, and again, we get those red seat belts. So let's actually hop in, same thing. It's a bit awkward. It's a bit of a stretch too. Steering wheel's a bit in my way. And again, like I'm still getting dirty on this thing. That's the thing that's been bothering me, especially in the winter the most. And I guess people that are driving this truck or in the market for it are probably not concerned about that kind of thing, but it's just something that's on my mind, and maybe if some of you will. So once you're in, you're greeted by this excellent GMC steering wheel, just big enough for the size of the truck. Really feels good. In the hands, I like the leather wrapping, like the GMC logo right here. A bunch of physical clicky buttons, and I have some volume controls and to skip and go back on the rear of the steering wheel, so that's very nice as well. We have a bunch of different views for our digital gauge cluster. It pretty much shows you everything, what kind of drive mode you're in, and then I can kind of cycle through these different ones. Really reminds me, some of these views here, they remind me of like the Cadillac that we had, the same kind of infotainment, the sportiness of it. So they're kind of taking inspiration from that, I feel a little bit. Usually I just leave it on this one. It tells me everything about my trip, fuel economy, all that stuff is there. You can also see if I'm in, 4 high, 2 low, whatever it is. You can see that right here as well. So that's nice. We have on the left-hand side some illumination controls, and just on the bottom there's like a towing control right there. And then you can see like the detail where you have a little bit of white here with the red surrounding it. It just looks very nice. We continue that kind of look throughout the whole thing. We have an AT4X badge just over there, as well as more red and white. Red, black, and white are very, very cool color mixes. It just comes alive in the winter. For some reason, this interior feels wintry to me. Maybe it's just because I'm sitting in winter wasteland here. But yeah, I really like it. Then we'll move over to this excellent infotainment screen where we can see, all the stuff pertaining to the vehicle, all the settings. Some of the climate could be controlled from here as well. But look, we don't have to worry about that because it's all physical buttons. So like up here is a physical button. Whoops. Up here is a physical button. Down here is our physical buttons, and then I can also control it from here. Great job on that, GM. We love to see the return of the physical buttons. I love that. This is my dual zone automatic climate control. I have ventilated seats, heated seats for the both passenger and driver, which is nice. And then we'll move on to this infotainment. It's powered by Google, made by Google. Also, my lights are controlled by here. I don't know how many of you will actually enjoy that, but so far I actually haven't minded, because even when the car's off, you can kind of tap the screen and you can play with this. So that's really good. One of the most standout things for me was like stuff like this, like the off-road controls, where you can see, different kind of things and different kind of terrains that you're on. And so that's been really nice. You can have an air down mode where it'll honk the horn once your pressure, goes down through the thing, in case you don't have a pressure gauge yourself, which is awesome. And then we have the cameras. This is the most interesting part to me, right? So I have my rear view camera, then I can switch this guy. I can have, the overhead on or off. I like to keep it on. Then I can, kind of zoom in the front, zoom in the back. My truck is red, by the way. That just shows gray, I guess, as a default. Then I can see, either one, zoom in, zoom out. Okay, that's cool. But I can click this little arrow here to show me more. And then I can, take a look at the hitch, make sure everything's connected if I want to. And then this, I can actually see underneath the car, underneath the suspension. That's the front. Here, I'll kind of move the wheels around so you can see in the camera it moving, which is awesome. And then if I click this little button right here, you'll see it kind of makes a noise and squirts it with water. There is a water nozzle underneath where I could see things. If you're driving through mud and stuff, you can see it right there. There is what the back looks like. Will you do the same thing? Give it a blast. cleans it off, no problem. And then we can have like kind of a duality. So that's the front suspension with what's going on up front. And then we can have, you know, dual underneath if we want. And I can shoot them both at the same time from there. That is awesome. That is made for off-road. I love that, to see that here on, like, you know, it is an expensive truck, but it's not the most expensive truck we've ever tested here on the channel. So that's awesome. This infotainment is great. Let Google, the software company, do what they do best and make the software, and let the car companies make the cars. And I think this is an absolute excellent blend here. We'll move a little bit lower. We got some vents. We got these things for locking the rear differential or locking both. We have the stop start button on or off, and it's like little auxiliary switches. Even the 4-ways is an auxiliary switch. It's really cool. Lane keep assist on or off, we can have that there too. Aux cord, and this is the button to roll down all the windows, but it does not roll them all the way back up. So I can press it, it'll roll down all 4 windows, but not back up, which is interesting. Then we have some USB-C, USB normal, and a wireless charging pad with like a camo trim, which is cool. We have a physical gear selector. Not too often we see that in vehicles, but I'll take it. Then we have this for the drive mode selector. You can rotate it, or you can press these buttons. We have the transfer case, which is 2 high, 4 low, or auto. I've been using auto most of the week. Electronic parking brake right here. 2 cup holders with the camo stuff. A little bit of storage in here as well. There's like a little pocket under this. This is like a little lip thing. Then the seats, passenger seats, sits right here. Very nice. They've got enough room. AT4X badging everywhere, which is nice. Even on the mat. A Bose sound system up there. No digital rear view mirror, but that's okay. I honestly wasn't expecting to have a digital rear view mirror for this one. And we do have a powered sunroof, but the shade is not powered. It's manual, but again, that is fine as well. So overall, I love the interior of this thing. It really drives like a big truck. So let's actually take it on a drive. Let me show you what it's like. We'll see if we can get into some nasty conditions, and we'll see how the Canyon AT4X is to drive on the road. Let me strap that GoPro and I'll be right back. All right, so we are in the 2024 GMC Canyon AT4X on a bumpy little road here as I'm leaving, you know, one of my film spots. And yeah, so I started to start the video right now, show you a little bit of, like, you know, I don't have any off-road trails here, so this is as close as it gets for me here in Quebec. You know, obviously our roads are not good, so that's also a little bit of off-roading, but this is, you know, a bit of bumpiness, bit of stuff like that, how the car handles it. And, you know, so far, absolutely no problem. I've driven this road a couple of times this week, or this little parking lot here that's just mud and dirt and snow, and it's been great. It's actually been great during the winter and all the snow that we've been getting, so that's cool too. So the Canyon, like you can see here, I mean, the roads are dry, but, you know, you can see how much snow I got on the sides there. That was once all over the road. So, you know, I got to drive it just at the end of a snowstorm, like as the roads were sort of improving, but I am so confident that I could have driven this through a snowstorm, through a blizzard, whatever, and I would have absolutely stuck to the road with no problems at all. It is just such a little truck that can, and that absolutely will. It gets the job done. And really, when you're looking at pickup trucks or utility vehicles, that's all you really want, is for it to get the job done. Whether you're looking at it for, you know, this truck is like so good at being a decent like overaller. Like, you're not going to get a lot of bed space and you're not going to get a lot of rear space, but it's like, it's kind of okay for both areas. It's really big competition, I think, to the Toyota Tacoma, and, you know, because that one's kind of been like the top seller for a really long time. And I think bringing the Canyon back just in general is a good thing to compete in that market, and GMC's nailed it with like the off-road version of the AT4X. So, you know, you can get the AT4X AEV, which is a little bit more crazy. You get like a winch and stuff like that. But honestly, I have more than enough here with just the AT4X package, especially for the Quebec winters, especially for any climate that has like harsh weathers or changing weathers. You really want something you can rely on. And this is one of those trucks you can just use any time of the year, which is really good. I mean, you can use most pickup trucks any time of the year, but this one specifically for the winter, I just feel like I'm going out of my way to absolutely go through like different types of, you know, I'm trying to go through different types of hills and stuff like that, just going out of my way to do it because it's fun to do it. So let's use this exclusive Baja mode, which is gonna, you know, hold the gears for a little bit longer. We'll give it some gas. Not a bad little sounding engine right there. It's pretty good. It holds the gears quite well. It's a very torquey engine. It's a high output 2.7 liter engine. It gives us like 300, I think it's 390 horsepower, which is pretty good. You know, pretty surprising too. You don't see a lot of pickup trucks that are really boasting too much power, especially because it's small. I really didn't expect to see, you know, a decent amount of power, but it does. The torque is good, and I think that's going to help you do, you know, most of your towing and stuff like that. So that's really cool too. It's just so usable, and I think that's like the biggest thing with this car, or with this truck anyways. I know people don't like when I call it when I call it a car, but with this truck, it's so nice and usable. Not too big, like it's not overbearingly big, but it does drive really big. It drives like it has like a personality of a big truck. Like the visibility is extremely good all around. Leak side, I don't really have too many blind spots. The blind spot check is really good too, but it does feel like, because I'm pretty high off the ground, I got a 10.7-inch ground clearance here, it does feel quite high. It does drive quite big. The body roll is quite present, like you would expect to be in a massive truck. So that's why I kind of think it's a small truck that can do almost everything that a bigger truck can do. You're just going to miss some of the space that a bigger truck affords. So it actually has been pretty decent on gas too. We're looking at 14.3 liters per 100 kilometers, and compared to some other pickups that I've driven this year, it's pretty good. It's on the rather, you know, eco side of things, and I've been driving it in normal mode the whole time. You know, a little bit of Baja here and there to get some fun out of the truck, but you know, really, and you know, you can see there's another pickup truck, the Ford Maverick. I think it competes very, very well in its segment, and I think it's probably, in my books, one of the leaders in the small truck segment. I think it should be at the top of your list because it's just so much fun to use. I feel like I like this truck even more just because of the fact that I was able to drive it in the winter, and I was able to drive it during like a bunch of changing conditions this year. You know, I feel like if I would just taken it in the summer, it would have been like, okay, cool, small truck, but you know, there wouldn't be really any like testing to it. I wouldn't have been able to see its capabilities. But because I got to drive it in snow and ice and in everything in between almost, I really, really love the confidence that this truck gives you. You know, it's like, it's not huge, but it drives huge. But also like the off-road, when you change it into off-road mode, and the four-wheel drive system is excellent. The ride quality is also really good. Those dampers, those big boy dampers out in the back really do help ride quality a lot. Like the comfort that I have here sitting in these seats, I could do a long road trip no problem. I've got adaptive cruise control. I've got a great Bose sound system in here that, you know, you crank it up halfway and you're having a great old time in your little pickup truck. There's just not a lot bad to say about it, other than, again, it's always like this with modern vehicles, and I think the truck market is expensive, and unfortunately the Canyon is no exception. For a fully loaded GMC Canyon At4X, we're looking at almost $70,000. That is crazy. It would have been nice to see, you know, obviously you can get the Canyon, which has decent ground clearance and probably a lot of the same confidence that you're getting. You know, you can get it for cheaper, obviously. Like the base Canyon, I think it probably goes for around like the 50s, which is good. But that, you know, sometimes you just want a bit of an off-road thing, and it's not necessarily going to be affordable to a lot of people because of that high price point. It is in the upper echelon of truck prices. I think it's kind of touching the full-size truck ones, which is, you know, kind of where the lines get blurred, where it's like, well, I could just get a full-size truck and do a lot more with it and have the same amount of confidence. And if you're one of those people saying that, well, you'd be exactly right. This really is for somebody like me who maybe I could use a pickup once in a while, but I don't need one particularly. But I also like the look and the confidence that it gives you, so I don't need some massive big diesel thing. I could really just, you know, get by with using a nice little pickup truck. It also has this little, I'm speaking about diesel, like when I press on the gas, I don't think the mic is going to pick it up because it's very faint, but it has like this nice, almost like diesel whistle to it when the engine spools up. It's very nice. I like that little noise for it. It's very cool. That should just about do it for my thoughts for the 2024 GMC Canyon At4X. It is absolutely the little truck that can and absolutely will. It gets a lot of the job done that you would want. So I think that's going to do it for the 2024 GMC Canyon At4X. It's been a great week overall. And, you know, really, really great truck. It is the small truck that absolutely can and absolutely will get you through most situations. And the confidence that it gives you driving this thing in the winter is exactly what I look for when I'm looking for like an off-road truck or something that's built for any terrain. And I've gotten to test this truck in a lot of changing conditions on the road, and I've been absolutely planted all the way through. And that is my favorite part of the 2024 GMC Canyon At4X. You know, it is expensive. It is a little bit difficult to get into because there's no steps or anything, but it is fantastic all at the same time. So I'll take it for what it is. And, you know, I think I will go ahead and leave the video off there. Great truck. You should drive it yourself. Go out and test drive it. You won't be disappointed. And if you own one already, you're probably not disappointed. You're probably very happy with that selection. So if you like this video, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know if you own a Canyon or not. Also, let me know if you like these style of videos. I'll keep doing them. And also, you can check out what it's like to live with a week with the GMC Canyon. It's out just a couple of days after this review drops. So if you're interested to see what it's like to actually own one of these guys, then make sure you check out that video as well. And I will see you in the next car. See you in the next week. Take care.